All right, since Steve Tate is slaving away on images for the Howie Shanks Bingo League for Action PC Baseball, I thought we'd just continue and play around with this all times great league and out of the park baseball 24. So I thought today it'd be kind of fun to just do the, let's see, what are we doing? The Chicago White Sox and the Kansas City Royals. It's going to be Ed Walsh versus Brett Saberhagen. So let's do this. Hopefully everybody's having a good weekend, a good Sunday. My Pirates took a doubleheader last night, whatever, from the Nationals, and the second game was an absolute slaughter. So very, very happy about that. So the White Sox versus the Royals should be a good matchup here. Ed Walsh and Brett Saberhagen. Both pitchers looking for their first win, each at 0-1. Saberhagen have the better ERA. Ed Walsh, known as one of the great spitballers of the time. So let's look at the lineup for the visiting Chicago White Sox. Leading off at second base, Eddie Collins batting second at short. Luke Appling batting third in right field. Shoeless Joe Jackson batting cleanup. The big hurt, Frank Thomas at DH. And batting fifth, Paul Konerko. Batting sixth at the hot corner, Robin Ventura. Batting seventh in left field, Minnie Minoso. Batting eighth, center fielder Chet Lemon. And batting ninth and catching, Ray Schalk. And pitching, Big Ed Walsh. For the hometown Kansas City Royals, in left field and leading off, Johnny Damon. Batting second at second base, Frank White. Batting third at the hot corner, as you'd expect, George Brett. Batting cleanup in center field, Carlos Beltran. Batting fifth at first base, Mike Sweeney. Batting sixth, designated hitter John Mayberry. Batting seventh in right field, Jermaine Dye. Catching, batting eighth, Mike McFarland. And shortstop and batting ninth, and seems like I need to find a picture for him, UL Washington. And then pitching, Brett Saberhagen. So let's get out to Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. And here we are. Such a nice looking stadium this one is. No quirky corners or anything really, but just a really nice stadium. Glad it's still around. All right, Eddie Collins will lead it off here. Collins having a .250 start to the season. He's 5 for 20 with a run batted in. Saberhagen has finished his warm-up pitches. Let's look at temperature. Weather at game time. So we have 32,485 in the stands today. Clear sky. A nice 59 degrees for some early April baseball, and the wind is blowing out to center at 10 miles per hour. All right, lefty Eddie Collins in there. Brett Saberhagen finishing up. Warm-up pitches as we pan around Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. So looking forward to a lot of baseball with the Howie Shanks League, continuing with this, other projects, and picked up MLB The Show. Haven't fired it up yet, though. Here's a delivery to Collins. Collins showing bunt. This one rolls foul. Here's delivery again from Saberhagen, 2-2. Collins swings, second baseman to second baseman. This one a bounce to the right side, and White has it, throws on to Sweeney. And Eddie Collins grounds out for the first of the inning. Here is Luke Appling, Hall of Famer, hitting .214, 2 runs batted in. Saberhagen has the sign from Mike McFarland, the wind and the 1-2 pitch. Appling swings, this one easy grounder once again to second base. Roy White has it. Or Frank White, I'm sorry, Frank White has it. On to Mike Sweeney. Still early here. We'll get it right by the end. Shoeless Joe Jackson now. Jackson having a torrid start to the season, 389 hitter. 2 runs batted in, he is 7 for 18. Saberhagen deals to Shoeless Joe, the 1-0. And Jackson swings, and all 3 outs to Frank White at second. This one a liner to second. Chicago White Sox go down in order. We go to the bottom of the first. The White Sox nothing, and the Royals coming to bat. Ed Walsh taking the hill for the White Sox. Johnny Damon to lead it off. Johnny Damon just on base once this season with a walk. Walsh deals. Here is the 2-1 delivery from the big spitballer. Hey, there's RGL Network, Baseball with the Beatles. How are you, my friend? And this one, a gapper into right. This will be for extra bases. Johnny Damon wasting no time on that 2-1 pitch. Getting the Ed Walsh fastball and doubling to right field. You have to give Peace a chance. That definitely counts. Robert, how are things going? Had a busy work week and weekend and stuff. Hope things are going well with your 1988 replay. I know that you're in deep into the postseason. So again, for folks catching this after or coming in, please subscribe to Robert's wonderful channel and catch it while you can, because there's going to be a little break, I guess, until July. I know that Robert stated that if it hasn't already, the team selection, or the season selection, I should say, will be coming up for his next project beginning in July. So check it out. It's always a good time in Robert's channel, and totally unpredictable. Love it. So Robert's built an excellent community there, and I'm glad to be at least a small part of it. But his regulars there, Steeler fan, the two Bryans, and so many other guys. Just a lot of fun. So again, please subscribe to RJL Network. All right, here is Frank White, who either assisted, was involved in all three putouts back in the first, at the top of the first. Johnny Damon at second with excellent speed. Frank White hitting just 188. He doesn't have a home run, 2 runs batted in. So give baseball a chance, damn right. So Robert says, so tonight it's the 1988 National League Championship Series Game 6. Montreal Expos, who knocked my Pittsburgh Pirates out of it, against the San Francisco Giants, and the Expos poised to take it all tonight. So they're leading 3-2 in this 1988 NLCS. And as I said before, if anybody was going to knock the Pirates off in Robert's 1988 replay, I'm glad it was Montreal. Those guys got screwed in 1981 and again in 1994. So I'd like to see Montreal go on and win it all. And we shall see. So again, tune in. That'll be this evening. Big clue says give baseball a chance. All right, Damon into his lead at second. Here is the 1 and the delivery from Ed Walsh. And this one sent deep to right, very deep to right. And this one off the wall as well. So Ed Walsh finding the strike zone, but the strike zone being not very friendly to him. And in there with a triple. Collins with the relay. White is safe. So the triple scores Johnny Damon. And it's 1-0. Royals in front. Ed Walsh now to face George Brett. Hall of Fame third baseman hitting 190, a home run, 2 runs batted in the season. Walsh checks White at third. He's scampering down the line some. Here's the delivery to Brett. And Brett lines this one to center. This one will stay up, however, and into the glove of Lemon. Lemon making the quick throw back in there. Chet Lemon, very good center fielder. In fact, very strong outfield for the Chicago White Sox. Minnie Minoso with a fantastic arm, and then Chet Lemon and Shoeless Joe Jackson. Very good range, very good arms there all the way around. Strung up the middle also for Chicago. All right, here's Carlos Beltran. He's hitting 273, 5 ribbies and a home run. Walsh sets and fires the 1-2 to Beltran. This one looks like a little flare out into right field. Nice catch there out in right by Shoeless Joe, making that running catch. Gets the ball in quickly. So Kansas City with a runner still in scoring position. White with the RBI triple, scoring Johnny Damon. And here is first baseman Mike Sweeney. Sweeney hitting at a 222 clip in the early season. He's 4 for 18. 59 degrees here in Kansas City. Nice day. Nice April day for some baseball. Unlike the way it is today here at the Commonwealth of PA, that's for sure. Walsh deals to Sweeney, and Sweeney looks at a called strike 3 in the inside corner. So, but the damage has been done on the Frank White triple, scoring Johnny Damon. We go to the top of the second inning. It's the Kansas City Royals 1, Chicago White Sox nothing. And thank you for joining us today. As Robert says, Chet Lemon, one of baseball's underrated players. I completely agree. Yeah, great. Thank you, Robert, for mentioning that. He said, how about the Pirates this year? Great start in a long while, in decades. We're enjoying it while it lasts. I think that Carlos Santana and Andrew McCutcheon bringing that veteran leadership to a very young but very, very talented team has helped. So taking two from the Nats yesterday. I think the big story for the Pirates thus far this year is taking the series from the LA Dodgers. Certainly not a slouch team by any imagination. What I'll be looking forward to, many Pirate fans will be looking forward to test our mettle against the team with the best record in baseball right now, Tampa Bay. So we shall see. Just enjoying it while it lasts, and hoping it lasts for a while. All right, here is the big hurt in the cleanup spot. It'll be followed by Paul Konerko and Robin Ventura. So Thomas hitting .368, a great start to the season for him. 8 runs batted in, including 2 dingers. Brett Saberhagen into his motion, the 2-1 delivery to Thomas. Thomas swings on this one, and this one line to center, and ranging over to his right and back a bit is Carlos Beltran to pull that one down under the air. So 1 away here for Paul Konerko. Konerko hitting just 152 runs batted in. Saberhagen winds and deals. Konerko swinging on the first pitch. Flare to left, but running hard onto his left is Johnny Damon, who squeezes it for out number 2. Saberhagen looking for another 1-2-3 inning as third baseman Robin Ventura steps in the box. 167 average, 4 ribbies for Ventura. Saberhagen with a full count to Ventura. Payoff pitch, and this one, oh, little Texas leaguer into center field. And Chicago picks up its first base hit on a little excuse me swing. So this one just over Frank White's head, who was Mr. Putout and Mr. Assist in the first inning. So Ventura no speed on at first for the great Minnie Minoso. Minoso hitting .357, 3 ribbies with a home run. Minoso digs in on the right-hand side. Mike McFarland sets the target for Saberhagen. Full count, and this one just a little squibber to second, and once again it is the Hoover known as Frank White for the 4-3 putout. So side retired. Chicago with this little excuse me base hit, they strand the runner, and we go to the bottom of the second inning. It's the Royals 1 and the White Sox nothing. Brian Reynolds, I'm so glad that we extended his contract, everything. I think that shows the Pirates' ownership finally moving forward, willing to spend a bit more money, having some faith in some future players. We just need O'Neal Cruz back, and that will happen. Not until August, so long way to go as we enter the month of May, but the Pirates, one hell of a start in April. We're really, really happy about it. So just as long as we can, the other series that's going to be fun is against the hated Montreal or the Milwaukee Brewers. All right, here's John Mayberry. John Mayberry here at 167 this season with a solo home run. Ed Walsh has struck out 1, touched up for a triple and a run scored. Walsh deals, payoff pitch to Mayberry. Mayberry swings, and this one grounded to Eddie Collins. Eddie Collins up with it on to Frank Thomas, and that is out number 1. Here's Jermaine Dye. Dye hitting .227. He's got a solo home run, 5 for 22. Ed Walsh fires it in, the 0-1. Jermaine Dye swings this one, a hopper to short. And up with it is Old Aches and Pains, Luke Appling. On to Frank Thomas for out number 2. Mike McFarland steps in now. McFarland just 0 for 1 this season. McFarland getting some platoon time. The 1-1 pitch from Walsh to McFarland. Cut on. This one fly ball to center field, and coming in on it and squeezing in for out number 3 is center fielder Chet Lemon. The Royals go in order but maintain their 1-0 lead as we go to the top of the 3rd. Chet Lemon reminds me a bit of another, I think, excellent center fielder, Paul Blair. Just when I see the two, I always make a connection between Blair and Chet Lemon. Very good. And speaking of Chet Lemon, he'll lead it off, followed by Ray Schock and then Eddie Collins. This is Chet Lemon's first appearance this season. So nothing to say yet about Mr. Lemon, except some nice plays in center field today. Saberhagen deals, count even on Chet Lemon. Lemon swings, and this will be a base hit to right field. Lemon making a short turn at first. Light hitting catcher Ray Schock. He has an RBI this season. Steps in, a member of the great White Sox team to the 19 teens. Schock's selection to Hall of Fame. Debated by many. Certainly when compared to great catchers later on like Campanella and Bench, and even catchers around his own time like George Boone Gibson of the Pirates. Schock in the Hall of Fame is it's interesting, and I know Big Clue and I talked about Ray Schock a number of times. So the Cracker stands on the right side of the box. Chet Lemon aboard at first. Saberhagen winds and fires to Schock. Schock swings. This one could be for 2. And indeed it is. The 4-6-3 double play as Schock grounds into it. And just that quickly, 2 out here in the top of the 3rd for Eddie Collins. We're back at the top of the order. Cocky Collins, 0 for 1. One of the keys for the Royals is to keep Collins off the base paths. Great base stealer. Saberhagen with the 1-2 to Collins. Collins cuts and misses. So that fastball coming inside, riding up inside on Collins, but he couldn't lay off. And that is a strikeout to end the inning. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. It's the Royals 1 and the White Sox 0. Big Clue saying, R.I.P. Cards broadcaster Mike Shannon. Oh, wow. May his memory be eternal. Mike Shannon. He was the hot corner man on the 1968 World Champs. 83 years old. Well, I guess a good run, but may his memory be eternal. All right, here's UL Washington, whom I have to find a picture for. UL making his first plate appearance of the season. Holding down shortstop today, Ed Walsh deals the 0-1 to Washington. Cut on, this one grounded to second. And this one has Eddie Collins' name all over it. Tosses it onto the Big Hurt for the 4-3 put out. 1 up, 1 down here in the Royal 3rd. And we're back at the top of the order. Johnny Damon. He's 1 for 1 and a run scored. Walsh kicks and fires to Damon. Damon swings. This one flared into left, would stay up at will with the wind catching it a bit. And Vinny Minoso hustling in on that ball and pulls it down. 2 up, 2 down for second baseman Frank White. 1 for 1 with an RBI, tripled, scoring Johnny Damon back at the 1st. Walsh winds and fires. Payoff pitch. And White lays off of that one. So fastball by Walsh misses. This one just a bit low. And here's George Brett. Brett, 0 for 1. Walsh with the 1-0. Brett swings. This one high. This one deep to left center. And you can forget this one. George Brett goes downtown. 2-run shot, and it gives Royals a 3-0 lead here in the bottom of the third inning. This one, 409 feet. This game sponsored by Roofing Tar Company, interestingly enough, today. Have a quick look at that one again. Exit velocity in this, 106 miles per hour. And there it is. Touch them all, Mr. Brett. 3-0 Kansas City. So hoping to get the PlayStation 5 hooked up later today and download some historical rosters and play some MLB The Show offline. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Even though he's in here, I would just encourage folks to, the guy that inspired me and others to get a PS5, and for me, just for that game, just for MLB The Show, is Legend Sports Network, so do check him out. He does some great stuff. He's doing this wonderful franchise league where each season teams get a draw, a sort of draft or whatever. And just great. And a great, great broadcaster, too. Makes it very, very immersive. All right, cleanup hitter Carlos Beltran now up there with 2 down. A 3-0 Kansas City score, plating 2 here thanks to that big bomb by George Brett. Ed Walsh with a 2-2 delivery to Beltran. Beltran swings, little number to first. And Frank Thomas waving off Walsh to take it to the bag himself. However, 2 runs, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left on. The Royals now increase their lead. It's 3-0 as we head to the top of inning number 4. Luke Appling, Shoeless Joe Jackson, and Frank Hurt. Or Frank Hurt, Frank the Big Hurt Thomas. So this is what you get when you do a ball game this early after out doing music and drinking the night before. Saberhagen with a strikeout through 3. The delivery to Appling. Payoff pitch. Appling lays off and takes inside. Ball 4. So Chicago, with its third base runner, have nothing to show for it yet, though. And here's the great Shoeless Joe Jackson. Saberhagen checks Appling at first, so chooses spots to steal the occasional base. Saberhagen brings it home. Jackson swings and misses, and the hit and run was on. And Appling is gunned down by Mike McFarland. What a play there. We'll just look at it on a regular replay. Jackson just had nothing to hit, and the runner was going with the pitch. So the chalkboard is erased, and here's Frank Thomas now batting with the bases empty. 2 down here in the top of the 4th. Saberhagen deals to the Big Hurt, the 1-2. Oh, and Thomas tried to hold up with everything he had. Appeal down to first. The man in blue said, "You went around, pal. Have a seat." So nothing across for the White Sox as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. The game moving at a very fast clip. It's the Royals 3 and the White Sox nothing. RGO Network says there should be no debate on Shoeless Joe. I don't care what anyone says. He's one of the greatest of all time. Since Frank Robinson of his time, before there was the Babe, there was Shoeless. Manny Minoso, the cute comment, should have been put in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. I would absolutely agree wholeheartedly with both statements. Just no question at all. I mean, because if you're really going to start looking closer at Shoeless Joe, unfortunately it was the World Series, but you know, Tris Speaker, Ty Cobb had made some, they were a bit under suspicious, and others, I mean, come on. It was not excusable, but you know, as far as what happened and what was Jackson's involvement within it, you know, I mean, he batted .374 in that series, but you know, apparently both Christy Mathewson and Uwe Fullerton noticed some plays that Shoeless Joe should have made. But all of that being said, he absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame. I think maybe they should put on, you know, they should definitely put on his plaque that he was one of the 8 Sox players implicated. But yeah, I agree. And Manny Minoso, why the hell it took the Hall of Fame to put him in so long? Again, Robert, as we talk so many times on this channel, the ways of the Baseball Hall of Fame, whether it's the Writers Association or the Veterans Committee, are indeed more arcane than the most obscure spell of Merlin. I have no idea what those people do. And yet, we have Harold Baines. So, in the Hall of Fame, there we go. And Ray Shaw. All right, Mike Sweeney will lead it off here, followed by John Mayberry and Jermaine Dye. Ed Walsh not looking sharp again today. And Sweeney gets good contact on this one, but it's going to stay inside Kauffman Stadium. And Vinny Minoso makes the catch, calling on Chet Lemon in center. So 1 up, 1 down. Walsh, one of the dominant pitchers of his time, but having an absolutely abominable season thus far. His ERA at 10.12. You don't expect that from a pitcher such as Ed Walsh. But a long season to go. So obviously what those people do, they're doing mescaline, right? Yeah, I wish I could explain it, Robert. I really, really do. So many deserving players out there not in the Hall of Fame and others that are in that should not be. Could not agree more, man. Oh. I mean, you know what? Controversial. Pete Rose should be in there as well. I mean, what he did as a player should be denied. Ever, ever, ever. He bet on games. I think in the case of Pete Rose has kind of been his own worst enemy as far as election to the Baseball Hall of Fame. You know, whereas Shoeless Joe basically kind of faded into obscurity, if you will. You know, if you've seen the Ken Burns baseball documentary, and Shoeless Joe ended up running a liquor store in South Carolina. But again, you didn't have the mass media at the time. But still, Pete Rose should be in there. Should absolutely be in there. Again, maybe something written on his plaque, but you know, as a manager, was found guilty, was implicated in betting on his own team. But you know, baseball will give druggies a chance, but nah, it's crazy. MLB should be thanking every one of those players: Bonds, McGuire, Sosa, Palmeiro, and the like. Yeah, you know, the thing is, and I think that those guys will be elected, Robert, but I don't think they're going to be elected in the regular way. I think the let's say it, you know, the steroid players, and baseball knew what was going on there. They will be in, but I think they're going to be Veterans Committee type elections. But yeah, and let's add in Buck O'Neil, baseball's great ambassador at that time. He really, really was. And what did they do to him? Elect him posthumously. Something very weird going on up there in Cooperstown. Ed Walsh deals now. Here's the 0-2 to Mayberry. And Mayberry, just a little too hopper to second. And Eddie Collins, the textbook 4-3 put out onto Frank Thomas for out number 2. Jermaine Dye, nothing for 1 against Walsh. 2-1 pitch. Jermaine Dye swings, and this one high, this one deep, and this one out of here. Vinny Minoso hurries back, just watching it sail over the left field wall. And this screwball from Walsh just absolutely had no chance. So the Royals pick up run number 4. That was a 392-foot shot by Jermaine Dye. And we'll see how long Chicago decides to stay with the great Ed Walsh as Mike McFarland steps in. There's Mick F. He says Major League Baseball is willing to turn a blind eye to it because dollars. And I mean, Robert, you know, does make a, you know, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, at first I was really, you know, all that, you know, started coming out and everything. I mean, I was upset about it. I won't lie. You know, I think many baseball fans are upset about it, but as we look back on it, right, you know, in retrospect, you know, these guys really did bring baseball roaring back, though. I mean, and it's kind of baseball's own fault that it let itself languish, you know. I mean, baseball making a nice comeback after, of course, those terrible drug trials, you know, in 1985 in Pittsburgh. And then, we had some great World Series. I mean, who could forget the great 1986 World Series, Mets, Red Sox. And even though they really weren't a strong team, you had the great Gibson home run in 1988 for the Dodgers against Eckersley. Um, so many, you had the great Indians teams, things like that. After, of course, Cleveland in the mid '90s. But yeah, it's the work stoppage, strike, whatever you want to call it, in 1994 would have been a death note for baseball had it not been for the exploits of Clemens, Palmeiro, McGuire, Bonds. Absolutely. Ed Walsh deals now. 3-2 pitch to McFarland, who flied out last time, and it looks like he's going to do the same thing, flying out to Chet Lemon, rushing in and making the catch. So side retire, but the Royals post another. We go to the top of the fifth, and Brett Saberhagen enjoying a 2-hit shutout right now of the White Sox. It's 4-0. There is Aaron Reed. Joe Carter's home run for the Blue Jays. Can never forget that one. Joe Carter's a player I like a lot. Joe Carter's just like him. And, you just look back at the clips of Joe Carter, hitting that, and it was just absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Just electrifying, right? All right, Paul Konerko trying to solve Saberhagen. He has 3 strikeouts and a walk for 4. 4-0 Kansas City lead as Saberhagen wheels and deals. The 1-0 delivery to Paul Konerko. Konerko cuts on this one, line to center, and making a diving catch in center field as Carlos Beltran. What a play in center by Beltran. So try as they might, the White Sox just not getting a break. This one looked like it could have been a base hit, but Beltran making that nice diving catch. Look at that. Beautiful play in center field. So these Royals fans having much to cheer about today as Robin Ventura steps in. Ventura, one of only 2 highlights, if you will, for the White Sox. He has one of their 2 hits, and that is it. Saberhagen into his motion, payoff pitch to Ventura. Ventura cuts on this one. Oh, diving stop at short, and great play by UL Washington. Fires it on to Sweeney for out number 2. This has got to wear on you if you're the White Sox. Here's Minnie Minoso batting with 2 away. Saberhagen with a 2-2 to Minoso. Minoso swings right through this one. Saberhagen pulling the string on this one, a changeup. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. It's the Kansas City Royals 4 and the Chicago White Sox nothing. So scoring for Kansas City has been 1 in the first, 2 in the third, and 1 in the fourth. UL Washington made that great play to end the inning. Leads it off here. He's 0-for-1 against Walsh. Just 1 strikeout and a walk for the 2-0 delivery now to the shortstop. Grounded out his last time. And he sends a little lazy fly ball to left, and this one will float softly into the glove of Minoso. 1 up, 1 down here in the bottom of the 5th. And here's Johnny Damon. We're back at the top of the order. Damon 1-for-2. Walsh into his motion, the leg kick, and the 0-1 delivery to Damon. And Damon just squibs this one to short. And Luke Appling says, "I'll take it," and indeed he does. So retiring the fleet Johnny Damon. 2 up, 2 down, Frank White. Frank White with that RBI triple. And thus far, Chicago has not answered since then. 2-2. Frank White, big swing and a miss. Walsh picks up his 2nd K. And the Royals go quietly. And we will move to the top of the 6th. Kansas City still leading Chicago 4-0. I did get my PlayStation 5, Aaron. It's still sitting in the box. I'm going to hook it up today at some point. And while it's downloading, do some other stuff, and then start looking into the vault and finding those really cool rosters that people have done, and hopefully get to play with it. I'm not going to do anything on the channel right away with MLB The Show, but this is going to be something that just fun to do till I get used to it. Even try some of the Twitch parts of it too, like the road to the show part. I think that'll be a lot of fun, just to see how the reflexes are doing. But definitely looking for doing the show. What I'd like to see them do someday is basically do what Out of the Park already does, just include everything. MLB The Show would be the complete package, but I understand that the demographic there really doesn't care for the same things that those of us who play either cards or dice, or in this case a text-based baseball sim. I don't think the average MLB The Show player really cares about you know, seeing Elmer Flick in a lineup or Christy Mathewson pitching, unfortunately. So for a little while this afternoon or this evening, absolutely. So Robert, that is a big nice a recommendation by him. He says he has the show and he likes it on his PS5. Nice. Yes, I did get it. That's the big question. I haven't hooked it up yet, MV, but it's here. So I actually have to hook it up and then buy. I'm going to buy last year's edition of the show because apparently there's more. There are more rosters and things out there, and then also this year's edition. So looking forward to it. In fact, I remember during 2020 when things were kind of shut down. There were people doing games, and that was my real first exposure to MLB The Show, because I'm really not a console gamer at all. I'm straight up PC player. Tuesday, Age of Wonders 4 is out, and waiting for Diablo 4 in June. I'm a hardcore, almost 3,000 games in my Steam library PC guy. But I saw MLB The Show, and I'm like, oh my god. But at that time, I thought it was just a sort of Twitch game, and you know, so I'd look at it and like, nah, not into it. And then when I saw Legend Sports Universe and I heard from Steve and a few other people that you could manage in that game, or you could just spectate, I'm like, and that there were all these other cool mods available for it. So yeah, this is the only time in my life that I bought a console, and for one game, literally. So can't wait. Oh, hey, how about it? Diablo 4 is gonna be sick. Wow. So, yeah, 2 made all-time MV, but what I'm told is that for MLB The Show last year's edition, you can still get that, and apparently there's a lot more stuff for it. But either way, it's going to be fun, a fun baseball experience. But yeah, I can't wait for Diablo 4. It's where it should be, dark, gritty, and love the villain this time, Lilith. And a truly open world Diablo. Can't wait, Robert. I'm doing a companion channel to this. It's going to be non-baseball related, and Diablo 4 is going to figure very heavily in that. A lot of Diablo 4 play coming up later in the year. So, all right, good to know. I didn't know you were a Diablo fan, Robert. Cool. All right, Chet Lemon will lead it off. One more thing, I'm glad Diablo, right, that they're going back to that more dark look. Diablo 3 was a good game, nice fluid combat, but that Magda, the butterfly winged person, I don't know, man. They were doing some strange fungi there at Blizzard North. All right, Saberhagen deals. 3-2 pitch to Chet Lemon, sends this one to center field, and ranging to his left and in, and making the catch is Carlos Beltran. Beltran making a great catch earlier in the game. So one away for Cracker Shock, who's nothing for one. Saberhagen winds and fires to Shock. Here's the pitch. And Shock winds this one to right, and this is going to get down in the corner for extra bases. Could it be that the light hitting Cracker Shock that we've been talking about could be starting a rally here for the Chicago White Sox here in the top of the sixth? So Shock aboard at second. So the White Sox with a scoring position, runner in scoring position, and here's Eddie Collins back at the top of the order. Collins, nothing for two. Schalke does lead at second. Saberhagen checks the runner, comes home with it to Collins, Collins, first pitch swinging, and this one flared into left. This one's going to get down to foul territory all the way by the foul pole. And Eddie Collins, with his speed, is going to pick up a double and an RBI. Coming around to score is Schock, and the White Sox get on the board. It's the Royals 4 and the White Sox 1. So a few intrepid souls here in April making the trip to Kansas City from the Windy City. And here's Luke Appling. That's one of the greatest nicknames of all time in baseball. Appling today, nothing for one. Collins, absolutely supreme speed at second. Saberhagen checks the speedster back there and comes home to Appling. Count even on Appling. And this one just punched to short, and no problem for UL Washington making the peg to retire Appling. Collins moves to third, 2 away for Shoeless Joe. Swing of the bat, Shoeless Joe brings the White Sox to within 1. The lefty stands in, wielding his bat that he called Black Betty. Saberhagen brings it home from the stretch to Shoeless Joe, the 2-0 delivery. And Jackson takes this change up to left field and dumps it in there for a base hit. And that'll be an RBI as Eddie Collins trots home with the Chicago White Sox second run. Chicago trying to mount something here with 2 down and began with Cracker Shock's single. Jackson, excellent speed at first, and here's the big hurt. Can he put the big hurt on Saberhagen? Saberhagen has struck out 4, walked 1. Thomas over 2 in the game. Checks Jackson at first. McFarland set. 3-2 pitch to Thomas, and Thomas lays off. So this fastball low, ball 4. Second walk issued by Brett Saberhagen. 2 White Sox aboard for Paul Konerko. Konerko, good power, nothing to show for it today. White Sox chipping away at this Royals lead. Saberhagen with the 1-2 delivery, and Konerko sends this to left field. This will get down, base hit. Konerko will have himself an RBI as the throw gets home, and not in time. Shoeless Joe coming in to score the Chicago White Sox third run. It's the Royals 4 and the White Sox 3. This shaping up into a ball game. Oh my God, Hades. Hades is nuts. That game, talk about a Twitch game. But Hades is fun. It's brilliant. It is brilliant. MV says 22 has seasons rosters. You're right. I have your PS4, PS5 version for 23 is insane. Looking forward to it. One of the other reasons I don't want to do anything right away on the channel, and I definitely do not want to use Legend Sports Universe's excellent file, because that wouldn't be cool. That would be kind of like me if I were playing cards and dice, which I just don't have any room where I'd be playing, you know, doing Inside Pitch 1988. I'm not going to do that. That's what Robert does, what Legends does, and I'm not going to, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to try to find something cool. And maybe some night I'll just fire it up and see, because Legends does most of his stuff during the day, and so there's not a lot of cross-pollination there, and just find something, mess about with it. Looking forward to it, but just felt like doing some baseball today, and as gorgeous as MLB The Show is, still that doesn't make me want to play out of the park baseball or Action PC or even the very Spartan Diamond Mind any less. So the more baseball, the better, guys. Phillies and Astros are on ESPN tonight. Go Phillies. I know Steeler fan would hate me for this, but I've never been an Astros fan. It has nothing to do with the World Series. Just not a fan of that team, and I don't know why. They've had some excellent players, but go Phillies. In fact, sound's going to cut out for a second. I want to check the, just one check of the Pirates score here as they're should be starting their game against Washington. Oh, they are in a rain delay. I don't even think they're going to get this game in today, to be honest with you. I live fairly, I'm in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but I live fairly close to D.C., and we're getting crap weather. It's supposed to be raining all day, and I don't think the Pirates and Nats are going to get this one in today. So the rally continues here for the White Sox at the top of the 6th. Frank Thomas at second, Paul Konerko at first, Robert Ventura. Oh, Robert. Oh, so you say your Mets have played since Friday due to rain. Robert, you didn't put in the time for your game tonight, if you would please. Really, really appreciate that. So that people can, I mean, you get a lot of people in anyhow, but just want people to know it's out there. All right, we're 45 minutes into this game. Let us continue. Yeah, it's been weird here. Early April here, we hit 90 degrees. Now we're in the 50s this week. Tomorrow's May 1st. So to any of my socialist friends out there, communist friends, whatever, tomorrow's May Day. Here's a delivery from Saberhagen to Robin Ventura. Ventura swings, and he gets good contact with this one. Fly ball to center field, but Carlos Beltran fading back on it and making the catch. But Chicago making some noise here. 3 runs on 4 hits. And now just trailing the Kansas City Royals 4-3. This all-time Quickstart league, one of the reasons I'm playing with is unlike some other people, you know, people are very split on these types of league files. I like all-time great files. It's fun. It's a great way for me to learn about some of the great players from some franchises I might not be aware or might not be as schooled on as I should be. But I've noticed that when Out of the Park included this, there were some glaring errors. And so as I'm going through and looking, I'm just looking at lineups, looking at players who I think should be here, who shouldn't be, whatever. So if you have the game and you look at the Chicago Cubs roster, and you will notice no Ernie Banks, for instance. And Kyler with the Pirates, and he really should be with the Cubs. Little things like that. But I noticed especially whoever did the research for the Pirates. I mean, you know, we've had some bad years, but we're one of the great franchises in baseball. And, you know, to see some of their choices, Archie Vaughn was nowhere to be found. Instead of Archie Vaughn, they had him as a Dodger. I mean, he played for Brooklyn, but Archie Vaughn, his Hall of Fame career was for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So if you play with it and you really want a little bit more accuracy in terms of franchise all-stars, don't be afraid to switch it up. It's pretty easy to do. And I think I did a tutorial on how to import historical players, because Ernie Banks wasn't even in this, I mean, at all. It wasn't like he was sitting out there as a free agent. He just wasn't in the game. Or in this quick start, he's in the game. As you know, every season is included in Out of the Park. All right, anyhow, enough of that chatter. Here's George Brett to lead it off in the bottom of the 6th, followed by Carlos Beltran and Mike Sweeney. Ed Walsh, his job now, he's got to settle down a little bit. And he's thrown 77 pitches. Try to keep these Royals quiet now. George Brett drove in 2, and Brett this time liner to right, and this one will get down for a base hit. So Jackson playing on the hop, George Brett aboard. And here is Carlos Beltran. Nothing for 2. Brett into his lead at first. Walsh checks the runner. Here's the 1-1. Beltran swings. This one line to center. This is going to get down into the glove. Chet Lemon. Nice play there. Out number 1 as Brett retreats back to first. Mike Sweeney, nothing for 2. Wearing some Phillies livery there. Walsh goes. The 1-2. And Mike Sweeney will dump this into left base hit. This one is going to go to the wall for extra bases. And Brett going for third. And Brett started to come home, and they flashed the stop sign. So here are the Royals again, making some noise. 2 in scoring position, 1 out for John Mayberry. So Kansas City feeling a little bit of pressure now from Chicago. A chance to bust it open here with Mayberry, who has decent power. He has a solo home run in the season thus far, 0 for 2 today. So Ed Walsh from the stretch in the 2-0 to Mayberry. The lefty cuts on this one. Fly ball to deep center, short of the track. Making the catch is Lemon, but tagging and coming in to score is George Brett. So a little cushion now to this Royal lead. It's 5-3. The White Sox having a very, very inauspicious start to the season, if you will. The Oakland A's still looking for their first win in this, by the way. We saw Rube Waddell the other night, and even the mighty Rube couldn't get it done. Aaron Reed says there's been so many rain delays and rain out this season. Yeah, how could he not be on this quick start? I don't know. I've talked about it on the Out of the Park reports, like, and not only myself but others. But again, just importing players, and it's fine. And considering you're getting everything else in baseball, certainly it's not. It was just more of an inconvenience. But it's been fun researching all these teams. And that's why I'm like these two teams today. I wouldn't normally play, especially the Royals. I mean, I like them, but you know, I'm such a big fan of the original 16. So, all right, Jermaine Dye here. Now batting with 2 down, 1 in. Sweeney at third. Infield playing in, trying to cut off the run at home. Walsh deals. The 1-1, Jermaine Dye will pop this out into shallow center, and ranging out from short is Luke Appling. So Kansas City could have done a lot more. They do pick up a run, 2 hits, no errors, and a runner left. And we head to the top of the 7th inning, 5-3 Kansas City. And Kyle Farnsworth will now come in to pitch for the Royals. So a good game pitched by Brett Saberhagen, and now Farnsworth will take the reins. Farnsworth 1-0 in the season, 1 2/3 innings pitched. He's walked 2, struck out 3. No runs charged to him. Minnie Minoso 0 for 2. Chicago trying to regain the momentum again. Farnsworth now deals. Here is the wind and the delivery to Minnie Minoso. Minoso swings in this fastball. This one lofted to right, ranging to his right, and making a nice, easy catch. Jermaine Dye calling off Beltran, makes it for out number 1. Chet Lemon now 1 for 2. Farnsworth, pretty good stuff, good movement, average control. Farnsworth deals to Lemon. This one cut on, and this is going to fall in for a base hit. So Chicago picking up its 7th base knock of the game. And Chet Lemon is on at first for Ray Schalk. Ray Schalk started the Chicago White Sox rally that would eventually lead to 3 runs back in the 6th. McFarland set. Farnsworth delivers the 1-2 to Cracker Schalk. Big cut and a miss. So that one, a big fastball from Farnsworth. 2 down, Lemon stays at first for Eddie Collins. Collins 1 for 3, including 1 batted in. Farnsworth with a 1-1 to Mr. Collins. And Cocky Collins swings, and this one lined to third and right to George Brett. 7th inning stretch time here at Kauffman Stadium. It's the Kansas City Royals 5 and the Chicago White Sox 3. David Baseball Demos, of course, doing his now baseball with the demos, as Robert calls them. Now back to doing his game of the week. So do tune in on that on Saturdays. David also doing a premiere this morning. Don't know, I haven't heard, I'm not getting many notifications. Hopefully our Red Sox fan is doing all right. All right, Keith Falk will come on now. Ed Walsh's day is done, so he'll come on in relief here for Chicago here in the bottom of the 7th. For Falk, in 3 2/3 innings pitch, he has no record. One hit, one earned run, 2 strikeouts, and a 2.45 earned run average. Has pretty good velocity. And he will face McFarland, Washington, and Johnny Damon. Falk with the 1-2 delivery. McFarland bounces this one to second. Eddie Collins has it on to Frank Thomas for the 4-3 putout, 1 away. And yeah, Aaron, after this game, I'll get on with you for a little bit of Discord and see how you're doing with Baseball for Windows. Nurse Teresa keeps Al busy. There you are. Well, nice. If there's a good reason to be busy, that would be one of them, certainly. There's Steve Tate taking a break. I had put in the subtitle of this, Steve. I was playing another with the all-time greatest while Steve Tate slaves away with player picks, but because of the 100-character limit, I couldn't do it. So glad you're taking at least a short break. Steve working on, I got a preview. He's doing a Hall of Fame logo for the Howie Shanks players that are in the Hall of Fame. And showed me one of Bucketfoot Al Simmons, who Steve calls Bucklefoot. Anyhow, of Al Simmons and Christy Mathewson, and these cards look astounding. You guys are going to absolutely love them. So, Steve hoping to get these done. I think he said by tomorrow, but no pressure. These cards look beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Player photos were almost done. Right, so there we go, with a little bit of a lag, and Steve saying adding the Hall of Fame logo. That Hall of Fame logo looks so good. And just the pictures, these cards are great. I would imagine if these things get out in the wild, people are going to be using them for, I don't know, games like Out of the Park Baseball that use the same file format, so you never know. But anyhow, Steve doing a great job. All right, UL Washington, 0-2, batting with 1 down. Falk into his wind, and the 0-1. Here's the pitch. And Washington, a little weak, kind of bouncer to second. And once again, that's going to be the Collins to Thomas tandem, 2 away. Back at the top of the order, Johnny Damon, who is 1 for 3. Falk with the delivery to Johnny Damon. Damon swings on this one, fly ball to center field, and this will get down for a base hit as Chet Lemon plays that one on the bounce. So Damon with excellent speed aboard for Frank White. Frank White with an RBI in this game for Kansas City. Keith Falk checks the runner. The 2-2, the runner moving, of course. Weak grounder to third, and plenty of time, though, for Robin Ventura to make the quick, strong throw to Frank Thomas to retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. A runner left on. We go to the 8th. The Royals maintaining their 5-3 lead over the Chicago White Sox, again using an all-time greats league that comes as a quick start with Out of the Park 24. And this game is absolutely the best edition this year. I urge you to pick it up on Steam. I think this is the better way to go rather than directly from the developers for many, many reasons. Oh, thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Yeah, looking forward to hooking it up. It's beckoning to me, saying come hither, but I did promise Aaron I'd work with him a little bit on some stuff today, so I'll do that and then get to the PS5 a little later. But thanks. Looking forward to some MLB The Show. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It better be. I mean, I bought it for that game, so. All right, Kyle Farnsworth will face Luke Appling, Shoeless Joe Jackson, and Frank Thomas. 3-1 delivery to Appling. And Appling takes inside, so this one inside and low, and Chicago has another base runner. I mean, I know it's not going to have the, you know, these sort of infinite possibilities of this game or action PC. I mean, I get it, but for what it does, it seems like it does well, and it does a lot. So, thanks, my friend. As soon as I got, yesterday was hell at work, and it was like I immediately went to GameStop after. I'm like, that's it. Today sucked. I'm buying this thing. So thanks, bud. I might have questions if I get confused, but I think I'll be fine. The we PC gamers making welcoming a console into our lives. It's a strange thing. All right, Shoeless Joe batting here. Shoeless Joe with an RBI. Appling at first. Farnsworth, the 3-0, pitching around fine to Jackson, but Jackson looks like he's going to ground into the DP. He will not. So Washington kind of taken out of the play by Luke Appling. So Shoeless Joe Jackson aboard now. Better speed at first, but one down. Here's Frank Thomas. A few Chicago fans dotting the stands around the ballpark here in Kansas City, waiting for the big hurt to knock one about 5 states over. Here's the delivery, the 3-1 to Thomas. Thomas swings, and this one line to right, and this will go down for a base hit. Jackson not sure if that was going to be caught. Jackson making a wide turn at second, but he will hold, so Frank Thomas comes through with base hit number 8. And Chicago with 2 aboard and only 1 down from Paul Konerko, also a run batted in. So Chicago leading in hits 8-7. Kyle Farnsworth to fire it into Konerko. Payoff pitch to Konerko. Konerko swings, and this is a seeing eye single into left field. Is that going to be enough? The run, they're going to put up the stop sign. Chicago playing it very conservatively here. So Joe Jackson makes third on the play. Johnny Damon, good momentum coming into that ball in left field, and they're not sending Jackson. So bases loaded for Robin Ventura. And so Joaquin Soria will now come in to face Ventura with the bases loaded. His record thus far this season, no wins or losses, 1 2/3 innings pitched. 3 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, no strikeouts. Rather lofty 27.00 earned run average. Good velocity. He's got to get Ventura here. Best opportunity for Chicago here in this game. Ventura with 4 RBI on the season. Hitting though just 190. 1 for 3 today though. Soria's finished his warm-up pitch, is working from the stretch, and the 1-2 delivery to Robin Ventura. Ventura cuts and misses, so big pitch by Soria coming out of the bullpen. 2 down, and here's Minnie Minoso. Chicago would like to at least get 1 in here. 8th inning, and down 2 at 1 point within 1 run of the Royals. Back in the 6th. But the Royals have never relinquished the lead. Soria brings it home now. 2-2 to Minoso. And Minoso, this is going to be a routine grounder to second to end the inning. Chicago leaves him juiced. And that ends the visitors' half of the 8th inning. Chicago gets nothing out of it, and we lead off here with George Brett here in the bottom of the 8th. When we go to the 9th, Chicago will be sending up Lemon, Schalk, and Collins. So George Brett, big 2-run homer in this game, back in the 3rd inning. Keith Falk will stay in relief, has worked an inning. Payoff pitch now coming to George Brett. And this one missing inside. So taking the walk is Mr. George Brett, and here's Carlos Beltran. Beltran nothing for 3, but has a great play in center field today to show for the day. Payoff pitch coming to him now. Beltran swings, little number out in front of the plate, but he's gonna, they're gonna go to second. So Schalk goes to second, and they will get George Brett. So good play, a very close play at second to get George Brett. Let's have a look at that again. And we're not going to get a chance. There we go. Yep, close play. Looks like Brett might have had that beat. But 1 out. Hey, there is cousin Ken Castro. He says, the best guys in the business here today. Absolutely. There's D. Scott Howard. Good to see folks in here for a little bit of Sunday afternoon baseball. Beltran at first. Excellent speed for Mike Sweeney now. Batting for 1 LA. Keith Falk winds and fires the 1-0. And this one should be the inning-ending 4-6-3 double play. So Collins to Appling to Frank Thomas, and that ends the inning. We go to the ninth, last chance for the White Sox, and Chet Lemon will face Jeff Montgomery into get the save here for the Royals. Montgomery, no wins, no losses, 2 innings pitched thus far in this early season. 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 strikeouts, a 9 ERA. Lemon having a good day at the plate for the White Sox. He's 2 for 3. Jeff Montgomery kicks and fires the 0-2. Chet Lemon, big swing and a miss. Big roar going up from the crowd here at Kauffman Stadium. 1 up, 1 down. And here's the guy we love to talk about on this channel, Harold Baines. He is making his first plate appearance. Baines bats lefty. Look at his little spray chart here. Montgomery fires it into Baines. Baines swinging on the first pitch. Lazy fly ball, shallow center, but it's going to hang up here for Beltran to make the catch. The wind blowing out here to center, so helping that ball stay up, and it's down to Eddie Collins. Collins with the run batted in. Jeff Montgomery working quickly. Here's the wind in the pitch. Collins swinging on the first pitch, line to center. This should be your ball game. No, this one over the head of Chet Lemon. Collins will go to second. Ball rattling around there a little bit. Collins will stop at the Keystone sack. I'm sorry, that's by Beltran, not Lemon. My bad. So Beltran, I think, misjudging that ball again. The wind a bit of a factor here. So Collins in scoring position, and the tying run comes to the plate, and Luke Appling. So the White Sox not ready to lay down the bats yet. Jeff Montgomery deals to Appling, or the 2-2 pitch to Appling. Appling lines this one to right, and that's your ball game. Jermaine Dye makes the catch, and game over. So the White Sox defeated by the Royals 5-3. Let's look at the recap. Kansas City and Chicago duked it out. The Royals came out victorious. Kansas City third baseman George Brett was a significant contributor with his team's 5-3 triumph over the White Sox. He went 2 for 3 with a home run and a walk, scored 2 runs, and drove in 2 for the Royals. Saberhagen picked up the win, improving his season record to 1-1. He struck out 4 in 6 innings. Jeff Montgomery with the save. With Kansas City leading 1-0 in the bottom of the third, George Brett hit a changeup from Ed Walsh for a 2-run homer. This was his second home run of the season and put the Royals ahead 3-0. So the White Sox fall to 2-4, and the Royals go to 3-3. And player of the game, George Brett, well deserved. So that's it. Steve said, spent some money today at Action. He just got the 2023 F-ball and 2022 basketball and the all-time golfer set and a few basketball seasons he needed. He had to exceed $100 just to get that 20% off. Oh my God. That is funny when you do that, right? D. Scott Howard says, asking Ken, did you see the APA edition of Digital to Dice yesterday? 2.5 hours of the current owner of APA. Very informative. All right. Good stuff. Good to see the gang hanging out a bit. Yeah, you got to get that. You got to get that 20% off, man. You got to get that 10% off. I mean, that's the logic of this wonderful hobby that we have, right? So this week, guys, before we sign off. This week will be hopefully a week of exhibition games and Howie Shanks 2.0, the reboot, if you will. Howie Shanks Strikes Back or something like that. And looking forward to starting the new season. I hope either next Sunday or Monday, since we don't have a holiday running into it. But that will be up to the see how everybody wants to do this in the league. So definitely, if you're a member of the Discord, there's two Discords. Our regular Deadball Discord, which I don't know if John asked him to rename that, and then we also have a Discord devoted specifically to the Howie Shanks League. Steve has put up the ballparks and logos. Steve has been doing beyond amazing work. And look forward to some exhibitions against him, against MV, Big Clue, whomever. If you have the game, download the file, play it, play some exhibitions on your own, tune up your managers, get your lineups, whatever you want your rosters. And remember, you've got to put 5 guys in the reserve list, and not always an easy decision. Not always an easy decision. It's sure good to see you too, cousin. Truly, truly is. Steve says as soon as the Shanks League kicks off, he's going to get a similar setup going with basketball and back to working on a basketball grades file based on the best 3 year. Yeah, I think, Steve, you're going to get a lot of interest in basketball, and the guy you need to talk to as far as that, too, is Dave Little. So, D. Scott is trying to do a Juan Marichal. Is that true, D. Scott? Because I'd like to shore up my pitching a little bit. Maybe you and I need to talk some trade. Depends on what you're looking for, certainly. Um, Yeah, I know D. Scott loves basketball. And the reason I was just mentioning Dave Scott or Dave Little is because he's a content creator on here, and so maybe able to get some people interested on his channel for your basketball version of Howie Shanks. So Marichal has to go, says D. Scott. He wants a guy that doesn't assault people with bats. Who is it? There's one manager on our team that has like a couple of jerks. Is that Robbie's team? Is that this time round? Is that his team? It's one of them that has like I think Anson and Clemens and a few other near do wells. Of course, somebody has I have Ben Chapman, so there you go. Yeah, D. Scott, let me know in the Discord what you're looking for, because I'd like to get my pitching a little bit more up to snuff. Little surprise in Dick Ellsworth. He's doing all right. He might actually be one of my starters, but I have two marquee starters, Mike Cuellar and of course Pete Alexander. But the rest of my pitching kind of meh. Steve Tate once again, some great. Johnny Roseboro. Johnny Roseboro did not make either Howie Shanks league. Johnny Roseboro was a hell of a player. Played both in Brooklyn and L.A. Did not make the Howie Shanks league. So I would be glad to talk some trade, D. Scott. Don't know what you're looking for, but I'll be looking for your messages in the Discord. Look at Steve Tate jumping in. Well, yeah. So Steve's got a lot of trade bait because, yeah, you have tons. Into your outfield's nuts. So I guess it's going to be you, me, and Steve. Steve and I are going to be vying for Marichal. So Steve wanting that pitching. So it's been a lot of fun. Steve and I did a doubleheader the other night and split it. He won game 1, I won game 2. I'm happy with Babe Ruth and Jimmy Fox. Ruth with 2 home runs, Fox with 1. I've got a lot of power this time, but my pitching is so. I've got some speed, got some power, but I can't rely on just Alexander and Cuellar, and I haven't used either of them yet in those 2 games that Steve and I played. So Big Clue saying hi to Steve and D. Scott. Everybody saying hi. So let me see something. And hopefully, for those of you who use Baseball for Windows, um, I did put up a tutorial, and they are still in a rain delay in Washington. So my Buccos at 20-8. That's wild. So, is there any baseball going on? Yeah. So Red Sox lead in Cleveland 2-0 right now. In the sixth, Toronto over Seattle 8-4, bottom of the fourth. The Orioles 4-2 over Detroit, bottom of the fifth. Minnesota 1-0 over the Royals. They're in the bottom of the third there. The White Sox 1-0 over Tampa Bay. MLB's free game today, Los Angeles Angels, Milwaukee Brewers 2-0 in the bottom of the third. Robbie's Texas Rangers 4-0 over the Yanks. In the top of the second, I'm not a Rangers fan, but anybody that beats the Yankees is all right in my book. They're warming it up in Arizona and Colorado. Looks like later games today, San Francisco, San Diego, Cincinnati and at Oakland, Cardinals at the Dodgers, and then, as Aaron said tonight on ESPN, Philadelphia at Houston. And looks like we have a final in, so Miami edging the Cubs 4-3. The Braves and Mets postponed. So, a lot of Baseball for Windows talk on the APA Digital to Dice interview. I'd like to see them. I know Robbie's more of the show guy for Baseball for Windows, but I'd love to see them develop it more. Maybe I'll catch that a little bit after I have a bit of an old chin wag with Mr. Reed here if he's still hanging out. Big Clue says he's run enough sims already. Different rosters, same Mudville results. We'll see. We'll see. I didn't set any manager tendencies yet. And remember, the only time I can manage my team is when it's on MV's channel or Steve's channel. I can't do it when it's on mine. So, Steve says he has a little time, wondering if he should do another exhibition game in a bit. I think you should, Steve. I definitely think you should do an exhibition game. I think this league dreamed up by Todd B is a great idea, and I think folks would love to tune. That'll be on Steve Tate's channel, so look for that in about a half hour. Aaron Reed says his Baseball for Windows game just finished, and the Angels beat the Mariners 4-1. Big Clue says that Steve should showcase Juan Marichal pitching. Ken Castro, they failed to spend time discussing the Master game. Thought they would have featured that. Okay, so Steve Tate threatening to do an exhibition game. That should be around 3:30 or so p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, so 1:30 for those of you in Mountain Time, where Steve is. 2:30 Central, and 12:30 specifically Pacific Time. And I guess that is it. Steve Tate, right? Steve Tate's channel is going to become an auction house. Any requests of which teams to see? Well, that's a good question. I don't have the league file at all, so I wouldn't mind see like Big Clue's team, like Big Clue and MV. I'd like to see those two teams. Ken Castro saying that he's good, might be released from care this week. Hope so, Ken. That KCCL tournament is on hold, waiting for you. Clue versus MV it is. Oh, and if we can get the two scoundrels in there at the same time, that's going to be fun. Oh, got a new logo for MV. Cool. MV still staying as a Manchester Red Bolt. Next week, you'll be all about the KCCL. Good to hear, cousin. Because those 1885 White Stockings and 1894 Orioles are like, what's going on? And of course, don't forget the 1912 Red Sox. So, but it's all good. Big Clue says that's great. Glad to hear the psych ward doesn't have room for you anymore. Well played, Big Clue. All right, guys. I'm sure you got lots of good stuff to do today. Roll up some of your baseball. Check in tonight with RGO Network. Um, is Montreal poised to possibly win it tonight, 4 games to 2 over San Francisco in that National League Championship series in Roberts' postseason 1988 replay. Getting close to the end, fans of Robert, he takes some time off, and his next replay season won't be, I guess, until July. So do check it out. Oh yeah, it's 1912. So Ken has a vested interest in both games because he predicted at the beginning of the KCCL that the 1912 Red Sox would win it all. So the Providence Grays of 1884 got a bye in the first round, and the Red Sox faced the Grays. They have yet to meet. And then the other one, of course, the 1894 Orioles and the 1885 White Stockings. And as everybody in his channel knows, Ken is the guru in 19th century baseball here. And when we did our Howie Shanks 2-0 draft the past 2 nights, and thank you to Steve and Big Clue for broadcasting that. I got a chance to just kind of hang back and draft and had a lot of fun with that. I kept thinking, as guys would get years from the 1800s, I kept thinking Ken should be here as a sort of advisor, but I was glad in a way that he wasn't because Ken would have helped all these guys build strong teams, and I would have been a lot worse off. So, for selfish reasons, Ken, I'm glad you missed that one. Aaron Reed, l'Expo de Montreal. All right. My thanks to Ken Castro, Aaron Reed, Big Clue, D. Scott Howard, Steve Tate, who will be on in a little while for an exhibition game between MV and Big Clue's teams in the Howie Shanks. This is, I guess, we'll be classing this as an exhibition game. RGO Network, McAf, and pretty much think we got everybody. So until next time, see you around the batting cage, and please make sure to show up to Steve's channel. Look for that notification. All right, till then, guys, see you around the batting cage, and thank you very much.